Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built, and this week hopefully I can get some glass back in the sides of the car. Alright, so as you can see in the background, finally my engine is on its way to the US, so fingers crossed it doesn't get lost anywhere and it gets where it's supposed to go. So what I need to do now is strip the door trims back off again so I can start reassembling the doors, hopefully for the final time, and get everything the way it's supposed to be. Alright, so if I'm doing the final assembly of the car, I can actually start putting on some of the shiny bits. And originally this car came with two flag mirrors, one black and one chrome, which really don't match and really don't work. I did actually try and get another chrome flag mirror, but at the time it was very difficult to find. There weren't any around, and I tried to order one, and the order was in for several months and they just weren't in stock and they weren't going to come into stock. So I decided to find an alternative, and one that I like, that is sort of, I like the look of and is reasonably correct to period, is these mirrors here, these little round mirrors. They look quite nice, but I'm not sure how good they're actually going to be as far as visibility goes. So I'll put them on anyway, and there's something that I can change later if they really start to irk me. So let's fit these up. Alright, the mirror is fitted and I am not very happy with the range of vision on that. Maybe if I could get something like that, but with a convex lens, would probably be okay. But as it is, it's not great. So that's something to play around with later. But for now, that will do. And let's move on and start putting on some door handles. All right, this is what I've got for my door handles, and they're looking a bit tired. So I'm going to go through now and see if I can give them a bit of a polish up and see if I can make them look a little bit prettier before I put them on the car. Alright, so I've gone through and I've polished these up and they've come up quite nicely. There's a few bits of pitting along the edge here of this driver's side door handle that's not amazing. It's not terrible, but if you look at it up close you can see there's a little bit of damage there, but the rest of it's pretty good. This door handle's pretty good all over, but the trigger parts of the handle were both looking a bit rough and a bit nasty, so I've sanded them back and I've painted them black. Yeah, again, it's something that I may change in the future, but they look pretty good now, so let's chuck some door handles on. Alright, I went to put on the second door handle and I realised that I've got the rear rubber surround, but I don't have the front one. And instead of letting it slow me up for the time being, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one out of some of the leftover sound deadening rubber. It's not a long-term solution. I'll get one, but at least it will do for now, so I can keep moving forward. Okay, the next job I want to tackle is to start bolting up the window winder mechanism inside the door. But before I get to that, one thing that's been brought up by a couple of people is that these door pulls, because they are exposed inside, when it rains, often water will go down inside and then they'll soak the door pull through into the car, which is not something I want to happen. So my idea to prevent this happening is I'm actually going to stick a piece of plastic inside just above and sort of draping down here to block in that area so that any water that comes down will run around either side of it and drain out the bottom of the door. That's the plan anyway. I searched online for a while to try and find some sort of sealant, and I've managed to find a sealant, and this is the stuff, it's not supposed to ever cure or set, so this is the same stuff that I'll actually use around the edges of the windscreen just to doubly make sure that it doesn't leak. Let's try it. The framework is in the car, so before I mount this into the car, I need to give it a good clean and polish it up. I've got some glass polish here. I'm not sure how good it is, but I'll give it a go and see if I can bring this up to a nice, shiny, clear piece of glass. Wow, I'm impressed. That stuff really works. There's a few scratches and stuff on here, but this has taken a pretty nasty looking old piece of glass and made it about as good as it's going to get. Let's put it back on the car. All right, another little quick thing I have to do before I put the glass back in is I bought some new felt trim for the windows, because the old stuff is basically just dead fluff. As you might have seen there, I found a little bit of rust where the old clips for the felt liner for the window were in there that I'd missed previously. So I got in there and I used a wire brush, sanded it back and gave it a quick coat of galvanising paints. Now, while I'm waiting for that to dry, I may as well start polishing up this window frame and see if I can get it looking as nice as everything else. In the light of a new day, I've come to realise that I'm not happy enough with these window frames. As you can see here, there's far too many scratches that I'm not happy with. I'm going to have to get myself some sort of buff and see if I can fix it that way, but they may have to be re-chromed. I'm not happy with it. They're not going together the way I wanted them to, so I think I'm going to leave the window frames for now and move on to something else. All right, while I sit and stew about my windows a bit more, I thought I would have a look at the seat rails. Now, I've had quite a few comments about they stand out too much, but I've left them till now because I want to make them fit better and I want to be able to use these lower bolt holes that are in here. A couple of people did talk about having similar issues with getting seats to sit low, and it's not a Porsche specific thing. I think it's common with most cars when you try and put race seats in them. Once they're in there with the rails and everything, they just sit too high. One of the options that a lot of people do is they bolt the seat straight to the brackets and give up the ability to slide the seat backwards and forwards. The other option I did look at with this is I took the cushions out of the seat and I could trim the cushions or put slightly smaller cushions in it and sit a bit lower. Anyway, for now, let's take the seats out and start modifying. So I'm trying to lower this seat down in the rails, and previously I've been using this bolt hole here, and I want to use this bolt hole. And when the seat is all the way down, the issue I'm having is, as you can see over this side here, the rail is touching the bottom of the seat. Now I can take a little bit off of the 90-degree edge. I can just grind a little bit off of that, but we're going to have more issues with the bolts hitting the fiberglass, and there's going to be more issues in the future. So what I can do is it's going to be sitting down firmly there. I can elongate this hole a little bit, and I think that should be low enough. All right, that's fitting quite nicely now. So now I need to take them both out, do the same modifications to the other side, and then paint them all up so that this big aluminium seat rail doesn't stand out so much. While I'm waiting for the primer to dry, I thought I'd come around here and have a look at some of these scratches that are on the car that I'm not happy with at all. They're quite ugly, and some of these I think definitely go below the chrome. I think I might be able to go through and actually buff them out. So what I'm going to try is I'm going to try using this flat disc on the die grinder. I've got nothing to lose. Either way, I'm going to have to polish it up. So if I can at least tidy it up a bit with this flat disc, then I'll be able to go back to it later and see if I can actually polish it up. Let's see how this one works. I'm not sure how well you're actually seeing this on the camera, but what I've done, you can see these halos around the edge, which is actually where I've obviously sanded through the chrome and made it worse. I have polished up the metal underneath quite well, but I'm pretty sure that is going to rust again. I could buff it up and get rid of the halos a bit more and make it a bit better, but it's still going to have the delineation between the chrome and the new metal. They really need to be re-chromed or something. It would be so much easier if I wanted them black, because I could just sand them and paint them black, but everything is going chrome on this car. I don't know, a bit more head scratching to go on, and I'll see what I can come up with. Alright, so the window frames are in on both sides now. The door handles are in. I actually had to take this door handle off again. It wasn't opening. I couldn't work out why, and then I realised one of the old felt trim clips had fallen off and wedged itself in behind the handle, so it couldn't close. So that's sorted. That's about all I can get done today. So I think it's time for fun facts with Mrs. Jeff.
Hi guys. Did you know that IROC, which is the acronym for International Race of Champions, which is synonymous with Camaros and other American muscle cars, actually started with Porsche in 1974. The cars were 3-litre RSRs with 315 horsepower, and drivers were chosen from the major race series of the day, including Formula 1 and NASCAR. One of the original cars, owned by Jerry Seinfeld, was sold last year for US $2.3 million.
Alright guys, that's it again for this week. I've got a few more shiny bits on the cars, starting to take shape a bit more, but I still don't know what I'm going to do with those window frames. I want to try not to re-chrome them, but I don't know. I'll have to get some polishing gear during the week and see if I can get some bits and pieces tied together. I've still got to tidy up that second seat, and there's other bits and pieces that I've still got to get to. I'm going forward and leaving all these jobs behind, but I really need to get back and fix up those last little bits and pieces.
I think the house should be your priority.
I'm going to work on the house. Alright guys, as always, please like and subscribe to my channel, Home Built by Jeff, and you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at the same place. See you guys. Yes.